I have that it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We'll stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, just a couple of reminders about public comment. If you want to speak at public comment time, there's a sign-in up here on the podium. You'll need to sign in, come up and state your name and address for the record when it's time to speak. First item of business on our agenda is approval of February minutes and March claim docket. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
I reviewed the February minutes and the claim dockets for March, and I make a motion we accept them.
Okay, got a first motion?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, old business. So first item, paperwork concerning sidewalk on Cumberland Street. Pete?
I was discussing this with Graham just a while ago before the meeting started. I wrote her a letter. Didn't even ask for the permit fee, just asked her to bring me a copy of the permission that she had. We hadn't heard nothing from her.
No, and I sent it, registered, certified. One of those where they have to sign it, and I haven't gotten the thing back. So I
Okay.
was gonna check on it in the morning, cause usually after they put it in there for a couple of times, they give it back to you, but she didn't pick it up.
All right. Ms. Wolmerans is here. Did you want to mention anything about that? Or
No, did you get the letter?
Well, I'd like to ask something first.
okay. You want to come to the
Should I
podium?
come up there
Sure.
and
Yeah.
If you'd
sign?
like. Yep. I mean, you don't have to speak. We're putting you on the spot. I realize that, but
Well, you've already put me on the spot for making a big deal about my sidewalk. I mean, that's why I'm here. So.
I hear you.
So before I do anything or say anything, I'd like to ask for an apology from one of your board members, which happens to be, I believe it was this gentleman, was sitting in that same chair at the last meeting.
Okay, that's where I sit, yes ma'am.
Yeah, then it was you. I couldn't really tell by the video, but I didn't do anything improper with anything with the placement of where my sidewalk improvement is. But this gentleman over here, I guess it's condoned by the town of Clayton that he wanted to take a jackhammer and bust up my sidewalk that I paid for. The town did not pay for anything that I improved my property. I've lived here for nearly 2 decades, and there was grass where there was no sidewalk. And the town of Clayton, although many of you weren't here for 2 decades on this board, I came to this board many times asking to help me with that, because the town has helped with the funding, either in the materials or the physical labor to do sidewalk projects. And I've talked to Jenny, and she does know that is true. I've asked several times over at least the last, 6 or 7 or 8 years. The town did not help me, and I paid for everything to do that myself. I had permission from the board member, whoever the person was that you had in charge to do it. And then a board member over here decides to say he wants to take a jackhammer to it for no reason.
Well, there is a reason.
There
Yes,
is
ma'am,
not
there
a
is.
reason.
It's not lined up, you didn't have a permit, it's not code for the rest of the sidewalks in the town.
Well,
So, yes, in
whether
my
or not I
opinion-
had a
excuse me, I'm speaking.
excuse me. No, I'm gonna shoot down the lie that you
If
just
it was
said.
up to me, I would pull
There
it out
wasn't
and it would
even a
match the
permit.
rest of them, so thank you
I
very
asked
much.
for a permit.
didn't-
I
let's-
asked.
Do you have
Jenny
a
was
permit?
president.
Where's the
present.
permit?
Jenny was
Where
present.
is the permit?
Excuse me. It's either a railroad that you can just railroad over somebody, or I can speak. Jenny was present when I came down here and I asked, do I need a permit for my driveway to replace gravel with either pavement or concrete. And I asked the person that you guys put in charge at that time, and we looked all over. You even helped me look up online when you were on the dollar here, getting paid to do that. You did do that. If you're honest, you'll say, yes, that
I
is
don't
true.
remember, I really don't.
Well, you did.
Okay.
And it was Jeff Eater, and he was in here. I walked into his office, I asked him, I contacted who I should have. I told him what I was doing. I have emails back and forth with him and text messages where I texted him and he chose, instead of to text me back so I'd have proof for it, he called me back and spoke to me on the phone. Okay, so wherever you're getting this that I'm out of line in any way is ill-founded. You're wrong, okay?
Where's the
So
permit?
wherever you're hating,
Where's
I
the
don't
permit?
have one, but I asked for one here. And he said I did not need one. And you were present when I asked for it. I said, he goes, you already have an existing driveway. You don't need to do anything with it. You already have an existing sidewalk, so you're just replacing it. I didn't create a new
You
sidewalk.
created a wider sidewalk and you created a
I
driveway
did
that
not
is
do a
bigger.
wider sidewalk.
It's bigger than every other one in the town of Clayton.
It is not. It
Absolutely it
matches.
is.
It matches what is on the north
So
side
the
of my
original-
property.
The original sidewalk along your road was jig-jagged like it is now?
The original sidewalk
Answer
was.
my question.
No, I'm going back to the lie that you just told.
Hey,
You said
can't
I.
answer a question,
No,
man.
you.
I asked
am.
you a question.
You said
wasn't
I
jag-
widened.
was
No, we're
it
going back to
zigzagged
where
or
you
not?
said I widened my sidewalk.
Was it jig-jagged or
Excuse
not?
me.
I asked
Oh,
a
we're-
question while
no.
you were not talking. Answer my question, please.
Excuse me. No, because
Yes.
we're going back to the lie. You
Nope.
just claimed
Nope.
that I widened
asked
my
you a
sidewalk.
question. You will not
Excuse me.
answer.
I did not widen my sidewalk. It's
Okay.
the same width as it was before.
I
Okay,
don't
It's
think
the
we're,
same width.
Great. Was it jig-jagged before or not?
What do you
Was
mean
it
by
offset
jig-jag?
with the one in front of the other house that's down in, what is it? I don't even know the lady's name. To the corner.
south of you.
Coverdale.
Coverdale. Was it jig-jagged before?
I had permission from the person that
You
you,
will not
guys
answer
put in
my
charge.
question.
I'm
I
answering
sat
it right
and
now.
listened to yours.
I'm
Is it-
answering it right
It's
now.
a yes or no question.
It
Was
is
it
not.
jig-jagged or not?
No, I'm answering it right now.
No, you're not.
It doesn't matter whether it was or wasn't. I had permission from the town
Where?
to move it.
Then let's see it then.
No, I want your apology that you wanted to
I
take a
don't owe you
jackhammer to it.
I still want to take it. I'm not apologizing for anything. I would take that sidewalk out in a second if it was up to me. Let's see the paperwork that you have.
But
and then
you
we can go.
decided to say that you would take a jackhammer to it, not knowing all the information.
Let's see the information.
So you would take a jackhammer to it still not knowing the
You
information?
do not have a permit for that sidewalk.
But I
Ma'am,
asked for
I
a
made
permit.
I made a driveway in my yard, and guess what? I was made to get a permit, and guess what? I did. I paid for
So
it.
if the town of Clayton hired someone that I came to and I asked, do I need a permit to do this? And I was told no, and then I was given a go-ahead for going ahead, you would concede
Where's it-
it is
where does
that,
it say
it's their
that-
fault, right?
Show us where it says
I
that you can
asked
do
you
it.
a question. If I have the proof in my hand that shows, I talked to the town manager, he gave, or what was his title?
Town manager.
I talked to the town manager, I asked him if I needed a permit, he did not give me a permit. He told me I did not need, it was unnecessary. He talked to me on the phone mostly, he came to my property, he looked at what I was gonna do. I told him I wasn't gonna hire a company that was gonna make it look shoddy. I told him it would look exactly like the town put on my north side of my property, as close to that as it could possibly be, and they did a great job.
So
I
what's
think
the
it looks
question?
nice.
You're asking me a question. What is it? What's the question?
You like to interrupt a lot.
I waited till
I
you
think that you're
stopped.
drunk on, I think you're drunk on power is exactly what I think.
I waited for you to stop your comment
So
and I
here's
asked you.
here's my question.
Okay.
I have all the proof in my hand that I was given the permission by him to go ahead and go through with my project. In fact, he didn't get back with me for a while, and then I texted him again. I had these people hired for it, and I said, I can't give you the down payment until I get the notification from the town that it's okay to do it, to move forward. So I contacted him again. I said, per our conversation and per you coming down and looking at my property, I need to move forward on this project. Can I go ahead and go forward? And I got the confirmation, yes. That's when I proceeded with my project. And in the first place, he told me originally I could move it 42 inches, which is industry standard on the width of the sidewalk. But the town of Clayton had put in a 48-inch sidewalk. So he called me back after he had sent me the go-ahead to move my sidewalk east. And he called me back and he said, oh, wait a minute, you're gonna have to make it 48 inches because the town's gonna be mad if you don't match what was already there. So I said, okay, but I can still keep it where you said that I can move it forward, correct? And he said, yes. So the town gave me permission. I didn't willy-nilly put it anywhere, an arbitrary place that I wanted it. He allowed me to do it. So you're taking a jackhammer to my project. You should have been taking a jackhammer to the fact that you guys hired someone that you personally disagreed with.
Okay, what's the question that you were going to ask me? You keep saying you're gonna ask a question
Well,
or
here-
not.
here's
So
my
if not,
question
can I
to-
talk then?
No, here's my question to you then. Since the town gave me permission to do it, do you now feel like you owe me an apology for saying that you wanted to take a jackhammer to an improvement that I made to this community? Because the whole point of a sidewalk is putting the sidewalk there so everybody can use it. It was non-useful before because a lot of it was grass and broken. Because the town didn't care enough to help me over the last six or 7 or 8 years, each and every time I asked for help on the funding for it. The town didn't care anything about it until I put that in with permission from the person that you guys hired and was in charge. So for you to make a smart aleck remark, being on the board, if you were just some guy in Clayton, I don't care what you say. It doesn't matter. But you're on the town board. So why, being on a town
I was
board,
elected to do that too.
why, okay, you were elected, that's great, that's fine. There might be lots of things that you do good, but the one thing that you did bad was, you jumped to conclusions and said that you would destroy someone's improvement to their property when they had permission from who you hired.
Where is it?
It's right here,
Let's see it.
yeah.
Can I intervene just a
Oh,
second here?
actually, it's right there.
Can I intervene here just a second?
Yes,
The manager before Jeff was Dan Slattery, and he's the one that started
thanks.
getting money allocated for where you see they replace different sidewalks in town. Each year, we're replacing so many sidewalks till we try to get a lot. And I understand your point, but I think had you to come to a meeting and said, you know, could my sidewalks be one of them that's replaced?
If you look back and I mean, not to interrupt you
Yeah.
too much, but I have been to meetings before, and that is one thing that I've asked for in
Yeah.
a meeting here before.
Because to me, I
I
mean,
have.
then we could put that on the scheduling, say, they look at it and they say, yeah, that needs replaced.
But
That could be one of
I
them when
have
we
asked.
would replace,
The very thing that you're saying right now, I've asked for.
yeah. But,
I have. Look
I-
back through your minutes. And
But,
here, I have something for you. You said that I don't have proof, or
I
where
didn't
is
say
the,
that, I said, where is
the-
it? That's
Where-
there's a
where-
big
where
difference
is the
there.
proof?
There's a big difference
Yeah,
there, yes.
well, here's the proof,
Okay.
but the town already had the proof. Because the town, the person that you guys hired to do this job has emails, right, an email account?
Yes.
Wouldn't you guys have copy of his email account, knowing what he is sending out to, people in the community? Like what his
Yeah.
business dealings were with the community? Didn't you guys have a record of it before I did? Cause as soon as he sent in, you guys would have had opportunity to have that. So if you would have looked, you could have
I
just
can't look
searched
at
his email.
everybody's, I can't look at anybody's email here.
Well, why didn't you guys send something to him and search and say, hey, Jeff, did you give this
Ma'am.
lady permission? Did you ask
I
him?
did ask him.
Or what, did he say he had
He,
permission?
he did not give me a straight answer. He would not answer my question, and that's why after he left, I called you and asked you for your copy of it, because I couldn't find his records where he gave you permission. So that's the only reason that we are reaching out to you, is I didn't want to hold you responsible for doing something wrong or against
There's
our
not something
ordinance.
wrong there.
Can I finish?
Yes.
So I didn't want to hold you responsible for doing something wrong if you got permission, but I couldn't find permission from his side of it. So, and I figured you kept stuff also, and so you would be able to provide us with what you got from him. That was why we reached out to you.
So are you saying that I kept better records than the person that you hired to do this job?
Sounds like it. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, at least you admitted that. I didn't get an apology that I deserved from the board member over here, but, okay. So here was my first contact with him. It was back on November 7th. Oh, well, wait a minute. No, it was October 3rd.
Of 22? 21.
October 3rd of 22. I said, "Hi Jeff, thank you for taking time to look at my sidewalk, driveway, and yard. You have given verbal permission for me to replace my sidewalk when I have my driveway poured. I will move my sidewalk east of the original sidewalk, the width of the sidewalk. I think you said standard width is 42 inches wide. I have instructed the company hired to do this job to make it look as close as possible to the sidewalk on the north side of my property installed by the town several years ago. Just wanting written confirmation of our conversation before I move forward with my project. Also, you verbally said I could get an extension on my building permit. Would I need to get a new one to post in my window showing the new extended date? One additional question, I would like to put in skylights and would like that added to my request for my building permit." That was the first conversation that I had via email. But at no time did I ever do anything not known to the town that they did not know that I was doing any kind of building construct on my home. At no time. They knew I was putting in a sidewalk, they knew I was putting in a new, upgrading my driveway, my sidewalk, and various other things that I want to do on my property. And I've told everybody all along, well within the law or what all the rules are, I did nothing wrong. So you still owe me an apology.
I never
The
said you did anything
second-
wrong in the first
the
place. I
second
said I would
email that I
jackhammer
had
it, and I still would.
Was, it was good talking to you last week, yes, oh, wait a minute, this was Jeff Eater to me on Monday, October 10th. So, 7 days later, he responded to me. Here's his email. "Mary, it was good talking to you last week, yes. You may replace your sidewalk as you replace the driveway. 42s wide," which I guess he meant 42 inches wide, "is standard. You can move it to the east side of the current sidewalk and go 42 inches towards the street," which is the width of what he said I could move the entire thing. Just take the sidewalk and move it east, the width of the sidewalk. "Have a great day, Jeff." My next email return to him was Monday, I said on October 12th, "Thank you." On Monday, November 7th, I said again, "Hi, Jeff. Following our conversation last week, I understand your last day will be this Thursday or Friday, but I'm also having electrical done and a wall built, non-load bearing. I was thinking you may need to see the work before the drywall goes up." So, still again, doing everything legal. I also asked for written permission, written, not verbal, because he had already given me verbal. I also asked for written permission for the verbal extension on my building permit. I just needed an updated permit for my window to be posted. Thank you. Then he called me back. He called me back in a panic. And he said, "Oh, you need to call the concrete company and tell them that it has to be 48 inches wide, not 42 like I told you, because the town will be mad." That's exactly what he said. He must have been talking about you, Mr. Swartz. He said that I had to make it 48 inches, not 42, And then I called back the concrete company and said, there's a change. This is how wide you actually have to make it.
Are these copies that you've are able to give to our current town manager, so we have that to put in the file?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
I still don't understand why he doesn't feel like he owes me an apology when I did nothing wrong. I did
Do you want
nothing
me to
wrong.
answer that? Cause it looks like crap.
It does not look like
It
crap.
absolutely does.
It
It's
looks
not
nice.
lined up with the old one.
It doesn't
It's
need,
not
it doesn't
lined
need
up.
to be. It doesn't need to be. There's
Okay.
lots of places around town
Your,
that it's
your
not.
opinion and my opinion are two different ones, so.
They
Doesn't
definitely
make
are.
either one of them right, does it?
They definitely are different.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say in the places in town where they aren't lined up, or places we probably haven't done, or
No, I don't.
or existing sidewalks that eventually are gonna get changed, but where the new sidewalks have been put in, all of those are aligned with each other. But all the older ones that haven't been, I know they're every which way in town.
They
But
they
we'll-
definitely are.
You're right, but as we're going
But mine
along,
was grass. A lot of mine was grass, so
Yeah.
there wasn't even a
Yeah.
sidewalk. So when they're saying that it's somehow, inconvenient for someone walking down that sidewalk, it's not. Because just south of where I have done all
Yeah.
of my work, there's an alley that's supposed to be an alley and not used
Yeah.
for parking. That the neighbor has been allowed, did she have a permit to widen her driveway? Because she did. She took over the entire alleyway. So
Oh.
did she have a permission to put gravel all down in there? Cause people can't use that gravel there's no sidewalk there anymore.
yeah,
She
you're
just
talking
has
about the
gravel.
alley between your house and hers that goes all the way east and west.
Yeah.
I would probably have to say no.
No, that she didn't have permission
I
to do
would
that.
say, yeah.
I would
Yes.
say that you guys probably should be sending her something saying she needs to remove that
Yeah.
gravel out of that alleyway then.
Yeah, your sidewalk looks, to me, in my opinion, it's not a bad looking sidewalk. It's just that with all the other sidewalks, the ordinances and everything, they like to have them lined up, dress right, I might
So they
say.
can be broken sidewalk with grass, and that's better than somehow
No,
not lined up?
no, what I'm trying to tell you on these broken sidewalk stuff, eventually, they're gonna get repaired. We're gonna repair all the sidewalks in town and replace them.
Well, I've
But
asked
that's
for
not,
6 or 7 years and nobody helped me, so how many more
It
years would
takes
it
a
be?
while to get the funding to get all the, I mean, it'd be great
Yeah.
to say, hey, we're gonna replace every sidewalk in town, but we just don't have the money to do it.
But I
So we
personally
have to-
paid for mine myself. So instead of the town saying thank you for doing this project, and it's a professional project, I didn't go out there and do it myself. I
No.
paid a professional company that did a great job putting that in. So as
Right.
soon as I get grass seed in there, it's gonna look nice, and it's functional, very functional. And if you go to the other side of my street and look on the other side that has an empty lot and one home, and go all the way down through that sidewalk, you're gonna see it all broken up, chipped.
Correct.
And it's terrible.
Correct.
So even if you had any kind of complaint, anybody did about something being crooked, they can use, if somebody's bothered by using the sidewalk there because something's crooked and they have to walk over the gravel that my neighbor put in the alley, then they have the opportunity to use the other sidewalk on the other side of the road.
yeah, well, what I'm,
Problem is solved.
It's not
Prob-
about whether they can walk across gravel or not. It's about aesthetics.
Then you would have been concerned about my broken up sidewalk
We are
and grass.
concerned about it. We're replacing sidewalks every year in the town. Just because we didn't get to yours as quickly as possible doesn't mean we weren't going to.
No, I've been
So-
denied every time I've asked.
Okay.
I've
I
been
wonder
told
why.
several times, and you've
We
been
used to
present,
put-
and you've told me.
We used to put money in an account for sidewalks.
And
we
they
weren't doing
don't.
it.
and we don't do that anymore. They don't put sidewalk.
So
We
you
do-
don't
yes.
anymore.
And
Yes,
next
we
door
do.
to you,
There you go.
and you know this, the other town manager gave her the okay to do that. You know that.
No, I did
Uh-huh.
not know that she
Dan
had
Slattery, remember you and I
Does she
talked
have-
about it one time when you came in here.
a verbal okay to do something. Did she bring in her
No,
paperwork?
that's
Did
what I
you
said.
guys
No, you said
request
you
for
don't
her to
know
do
how.
that?
he gave her the okay to do it.
But did you guys request to see if she had permission to widen her driveway and double the size of it?
Ask him, I just work here.
No, I mean, you were privy to knowing that he
You and I
gave
talked
her
about it in
permission.
there one time about her getting to,
Yeah, I said,
Park
how
is in
does
there.
somebody just get to
I-
double the size of their driveway?
I think we've
How?
gotten off track of what the original request was. We got the request that we've asked, and I know Pete's letter to you mentioned how your sidewalk is an improvement, and that he said, thank you for doing improvements to your yard. So let's take the win on this. We've got the paperwork we're asking for, and we are gonna consider this matter solved.
Okay.
Okay?
Do you guys now think that it's beneficial for a board member to say at a meeting that before they have the facts, to say that they want to take a jackhammer to the property and bust it all up?
Well, he stated his opinion, and
But
I'm not gonna
opinions
tell
are
him.
for people that live in the community.
People on a board can have
Once you
opinions
get on the
also.
board,
I am
you
a member of the
shouldn't be.
community. I live
Yeah.
here.
I
And I
understand that,
still
and that's what I
would
said.
say
I
that
wouldn't care
Because I don't
if
like
you
the
said
way
it.
it looks, so.
I
There
wouldn't
you
care
go.
if you said it. But because you're on a board, you have a responsibility to be responsible, and you weren't.
I absolutely
Okay,
was.
thank you
Yes,
for your,
ma'am, I
No, you
was.
weren't.
thank you for your information. Thank you for being here tonight. All right, next item on the agenda, sidewalk in front of the fire department. Pete, you got some bids for repairing the damage that happened over there.
The second one was by text. Printed up the text.
Okay? And are you familiar enough with these companies? You,
Mr. Winger did
Trust the-
some work for me personally. so
okay,
I do know him, the other two, I do not. I do know the second one, he lives in Cartersville, I believe, John Cooper, but I don't know anything about his work.
okay.
Winger did, and his is the cheapest bid. He put in a new front porch for me.
Any questions for Pete on the sidewalk repair bids?
I need the prices.
Yeah.
I
You didn't
the
give Jenny a copy?
So I do.
That's okay.
Okay. And Mr. Winger, even though he didn't write it in the bid, told me that he would put rebar in.
Okay. Any questions for Pete?
No.
So the scope of it's all the same, right? Wingler's gonna do the exact same thing as what the others are doing.
Yeah, the third gentleman told me that the price would probably shock me, and it did.
Well, if they're all the same scope of work, I make a motion we accept the proposal from Winger Concrete for $2,300.
Okay, got a first?
I'll second.
Got a second? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, contact Mr. Wingler and get that,
I have one quick question.
okay.
Is there a different thickness that we have to use for that section of sidewalk?
I
than
think
we
that
would on
section is, 6 inches.
6 inches, okay.
All right, March meeting with the Department of Local Government Finance. Jenny, you got that scheduled for,
It's not until the 16th, because we were gonna ask her about the, Cume Cap,
right?
and so we can't until next week, so I can't report on it.
Right.
So we will in April.
Okay. Anybody else invited to that, meeting or
Anyone can come.
on the 16th at,
10
what
o'clock.
time? 10 o'clock. The 16th?
I didn't get a safety date.
It's January.
I'll send you one.
9 o'clock. I got 9.
Oh, 9
No,
o'clock.
I think it's 10.
Okay, well, I got 9.
Oh,
All right.
it's either 9 or 10.
Okay. Very good. All right, next item on the agenda, internet problem at sewer plants. We had any luck getting that?
Okay, so the internet and the fax machine here is TDS. The hotspot at the park is AT&T. The phones are Verizon. Why do we have so many different
Yeah.
people doing everything? And then
Yeah.
Sharing the love.
I talked to Matt about it to get that one phone taken out of the office,
Okay?
cause it's, what did we say? There's been 3 calls on it since last September.
Yes.
All right.
So we're paying like $30 a month for
And-
what?
And that's through what, TDS?
That's through Verizon.
Verizon.
Yeah.
So that's a wireless phone through Verizon.
No.
No,
No.
they're,
It's supposed to be for the park when people have a problem,
But why isn't it
but why is it in the town, the clerk's office?
well, from what I remember, it wasn't meant to be that they call that extension. They call, leave a voicemail, and then how Matt has it set up, the voicemail goes to the email of the maintenance person who's supposed to respond to the park to fix whatever problem it is. So if they're, you know, there and they say, oh, the toilet in the, you know, west bathroom is plugged up. So obviously the maintenance person should get that voicemail to go do that. And so just like the other office voicemails can go to your email or Pete's email or,
Oh, yeah.
so that's what he set that up as. But he couldn't have a line that didn't have a phone to it. So I think he just decided to put it there just out of convenience. But so the voicemail sending an email to the maintenance person was the goal.
Okay.
I don't know if that was just way too complicated and we need to rethink that and go back.
I can ask him if he'd move it over to our place. See where it
Well, I
Don't
mean,
you
you
have
guys,
service over there?
We have a line.
Yeah,
well, that's what
TDS.
I thought.
Yeah, so TDS can do the landline and wired Wi-Fi, but they can't do wireless, and that's what we would need down at the park, and down at the sewer plant, unless we run some kind of a TDS line down there. I don't know if there's one down there or not.
There used to be years ago.
Yeah, so they're probably not, they're probably disconnected. So that's why we're using a cellular service at both those facilities.
Right. And so your internet is still out at
Yeah.
the sewer plant.
Well, the phone even doesn't work. I mean, I still get messages, people leave, and I get it on my phone, so I can pick it up that way, but yeah, there's no phone, no internet, cause it's internet-based phone.
It is?
Yeah.
So the
So-
internet service?
Yeah.
So it's a TDS thing.
But it says Verizon.
But it's a
on all the stuff.
Verizon, it's through
The phone
it's
and,
through Verizon. I pay Verizon the
The phone
bill.
and- Yeah, the phone and the.
The only thing I
wireless
have for TDS is the internet here and the fax machine.
All right.
And there's
Is there a router? down there?
There's a,
Yeah.
at 2918 for Lambert Park. Then there's a Matthew Oliphant 7530802. Then there's a Matthew Oliphant 7530574. Then there's Matthew Oliphant 5392552. Then there's Clayton Police Department 5392333. And then there's the Police Department 4305341.
We got that many?
Go back through those again.
Really?
All right. And so, like, first we were going to call Matt and find out what his input was. And then if Matt couldn't fix it,
And I
We were
did-
gonna call
I
Brian.
texted him about it.
okay.
And he said he was on it, cause
Yeah, he did. I
Thomas
asked
had
him
already
to. I
called
asked
him,
him to.
and he was looking into it. That's the last thing I heard.
I can go down there sometime and get a better look at what's going on, and then get with Matt,
Okay.
if you want me to reach out to him and get everybody on the same page.
All right.
Okay.
But we need to get George fixed down to sewer
Yeah, we
plant.
need George fixing
Yeah,
this.
he needs that,
We need
I
to
mean-
take this phone out, because
Just
We could put something,
take
whoever
it
is
out
the.
or remove it from being billed and everything.
Yes, remove it from being
Okay,
billed.
that's what you
I
mean.
mean, that's $30 a month we've been
Right,
paying
that's
since
not needed.
August for nothing.
Okay.
Okay,
It's not.
so we're gonna remove the park emergency line.
Yeah, and whoever is the maintenance man, I mean, we
Okay.
can put his phone
Give
number,
them a cell phone.
Okay,
so that people can bug him all the time.
sure, okay. All right, so that's our plan. Dave and Matt are gonna work on internet access at the sewer plant. All right, and we're gonna remove that extra line for the maintenance emergencies at the park. Very good. All right, next item on old business, parking lot at the corner of Michigan and State Road 39. So Pete, you wanna address that?
Okay.
12 East Michigan basically is the address of that.
Going forward, I guess we're gonna have to hire Banning to come and survey the property. And the next step after that is, if you decide on the parking lot with bathrooms and everything, we have to have English come drill a well. And I think, then we decide we're gonna do it in halves on account of the money.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing probably, in my opinion, I guess, would be to ask Banning for a price quote. Like what are we looking at for cost? You just start with that, see where we're gonna start. I mean, obviously, they may have to do, some initial survey work to figure out costs because they need to know where's the property line.
Yeah, I figured that'd be the first step in
Right.
boundary lines. So other than that, that's what we need to do.
Any questions, input, thoughts on anybody else?
Well, if it's going forward with the parking lot over there, it's just my personal opinion. Once we put one in, I really don't see the need to have to put restrooms over there. If you're talking eventually, the Rails to Trails thing coming to the park, where you have restroom facilities at the park, if someone comes up here. And I think it would mostly just be used by people going to the antique shop, or maybe, you got restrooms in your building?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I think that would just be an added cost, and something you have to do, but that's just my opinion, so.
Okay.
That's something you guys as a group's gonna have to decide.
Yeah.
on.
Right, so,
I can-
Yeah.
I mean, if the Vandalia Trail eventually, comes through town,
Yeah.
then there's the potential, just like in Amo or Coatesville, they have, bathrooms along the trail, and this would be a parking lot where people could park, get on their bike and go on Vandalia Trail, come back, whatever, get water for their four-legged pets and
Yeah.
go to the bathroom, that kind of stuff also. But that was what we discussed in the Planning and Zoning Advisory Board, so.
Well, I could kind of see it like at Amo, when you get off that trail, the only businesses right there basically you could go into would be that grocery store or the pizza place. Where here, if you get off at the park, that's a jumping off point where you have, if you want to stop, use picnic tables or use the restroom, whatever. Then if you come uptown, you've got the two restaurants, two antique shops. If people, they might stop in and use that there, you would have the facilities there. I don't know, how many people were talking about it at the time, but that's just like I say, my personal opinion. I could see the parking lot, that would be nice for more parking for everybody, but
Right, but then if there was a facility there for people to stop, and if you wanted to clear the parking lot for a Saturday and have a farmer's market there, then you would have places for folks to go to the restroom if they needed to go, or things like that.
Good point.
yeah. Like I say, that's just my opinion. That's good.
I guess one of my questions is, once we say Banning comes out and does a surveying, would it cost us any more money to ask him if there needs any additional grading for right now? See if we could put some gravel on it if it doesn't need grading, where they can use it now.
Or grade it up now and put, gravel down where later we could compact it and put
Right,
blacktop and
yeah.
other
Yeah,
facilities
because
if
when
we
they have to have a
wanted to.
base anyway, I guess my question is, do they need to grade it first? And we can ask them that while they're here, but,
Yes,
Yeah.
and we could even, in the process of asking for price quotes,
Yeah.
is get one, here's the price quote with putting bathrooms in, here's one without it.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
make informed decisions based on all the options.
yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah.
All right,
What's the
so if you,
options to pay for that? The whole thing?
that'll be the tricky thing. I know, like paving right now is about $19 a square foot, so
Yeah, as far as
that's,
grants and
yeah.
everything like that.
I've, at one point, when I was looking up grants, I found something for a downtown improvements, type grant. And then, like, the last couple weeks, I couldn't find that, whatever it was that I found, but there, I mean, I can look some more and try to find that. I think there are definitely grants for, small town America, Main Street America, those kinds of things. Right. I know one difficult part that we as Clayton have in getting grants is our median household income is so high. We're at $73,000 a year median household income. So they look in that and they say, why do you need that much money from us? You already have it. But we can, I can certainly continue researching grant processes and try to figure out what to do with that. Any other thoughts, questions on 12 East Michigan? All right. Okay, new business. First item on new business is the Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day proclamation. Veterans Day, or the National Vietnam Veterans Day is March 29th. And so what we have, here's a proclamation for Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans. And National Vietnam Veterans Day gives the opportunity for all Americans to recognize, honor, and thank our Vietnam veterans and their families for their service and sacrifices during the Vietnam War from November 1st, 1955, and May 15th, 1975. Essentially, this is just a proclamation from us as the town council here in Clayton that we are participating in welcoming home the Vietnam veterans and recognizing them on Vietnam Veterans Day. So, any questions or comments? I know Rhonda's here from the Daughters of the American Revolution. All right, so do you want to stand up and say any more about this?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
No.
No, it's just that people can't hear you if you're staying out there on the, in the seats.
I'm with Wapaki Way Chapter Daughters of the American Revolution, and for years we have been doing an annual program honoring our Vietnam veterans. We do the same for World War II, Korean War, and now we've started one after those that served after Vietnam. So traditionally, when there is a national holiday like this, we do like to get a proclamation from the towns. And since we have been able to expand our list to invite our veterans from Vietnam to the communities by acknowledging them and obtaining their names through our military banner program, we thought that it would be nice to encompass all the towns that we are participating with, because their veterans do come to our recognition program. Last year we had about 180 there. We're probably going to have more this year. So it's just something that we bring our veterans in and thank them for their service to our country. So we appreciate it. And then we put all these on an easel and frames, and we display them at our recognition program. So I thank you.
Thank you. All right, any questions or
No.
comments from the board? Okay, we'll make sure that we all sign this at the end of our meeting. Thank you. AIM Roundtable is on here. The AIM every year does a roundtable where they Just give us opportunities to go and learn about things happening in the state with community boards, community employees, that kind of stuff, what they're doing at the legislature, 4 towns, I don't know what else was.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Judy and I think that we might go to the one May the 4th,
Okay,
if it's okay with you guys.
in Madison,
Yeah.
all right. Any other discussions, questions, thoughts?
It's the closest one to here.
Say that again.
Which one would be the closest to here? Looks like, they're all across the state, but in the farthest areas, so. Never mind.
Madison's the only place I've ever been on this list, so,
Yeah.
but. All right, and then, next on news business, donation for Mill Creek Community School District, annual staff recognition breakfast. So the school board has written a letter, just talking about the recognition breakfast that they're doing again this year and asking if we would like to donate. We have made, donations, every year that I've been on this board to their, efforts. So,
That's their end of the year school